A world where sand stretches as far as the eye can see, where water is controlled by a malevolent king and is treated like gold. A ragtag group are on a quest to find a legendary spring, hidden somewhere in this desert realm. Developed by ILCA and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment, Sandland was released in April 2024 on PC, PS4 and 5, and Xbox Series S and X. It was one of the last projects that legendary illustrator Akira Toriyama was involved in before he passed a month before the game released, and was based on his manga series of the same name. It earned a 75 on PC, and a 72 on PS5 and Series X, with positive reviews praising the beautiful world and charming characters, and delight at a new story. At the other end of the scale, negative reviews didn't find the game compelling, with errand boy missions and a quickly deflating narrative. Welcome to Sandland, where demons and humans live side by side, but not always in harmony. We play as Beelzebub, son of Lucifer, and an avid gamer. We meet several demons while they're on a mission to steal water from humans, but only enough to tide them over.
That hurt! You stupid jerk!
Bullets don't work on this freak of nature?
Ow! My head. Oh, now you're in for it!
Later, he's approached by Rao, a sheriff who wants the demon's help to find a legendary spring, which will make water accessible to everyone, and not just royalty and the government.
We must find this spring by ourselves for the people.
Doesn't sound like a bad deal. But we've been doing fine stealing water for ourselves.
How about it?
Working with a human? It served that selfish king right to have his stash
Sounds
stolen.
a bit too dangerous, don't you think?
Please accept this as a token of goodwill. One of the few game consoles to have survived these chaotic times.
So cool! And with games, too! Hold on! I'll ask my dad for permission!
Yes, I heard. Aid him. That human's plan will benefit us as well. And he seems trustworthy enough. And it gives you a chance to sharpen your skills. Once you return, you're only allowed to use that console for 1 hour a day. Be sure to only play in a bright room, and don't sit too close to the screen.
Along with Thief, the trio set out on their mission, exploring the desert and helping out those in need. While attempting to steal a tank from a military base, they free Anne, who's a great mechanic and was captured by the army.
I'm Anne, and it's your lucky day. I happen to be an ace mechanic.
Now the group is complete, and they make their way to Spino, a rundown town that they can use as a base to help with their mission. I'm a little biased because I love Toriyama's art style, so this hooked me before I even looked into the game. Visually, this doesn't disappoint though. It's a mix of 2D and 3D, with bright cell shading in places, and detailed environments in others. It truly feels like you're playing an interactive anime, but the style isn't so basic that it looks like a kid's game. The story is simple, with one main objective in mind and smaller stories to follow as you progress. The characters aren't over the top or annoying at all, and they have both humorous and serious moments that are nicely balanced.
Nobody's allowed to be more evil than a fiend.
Possibly the strangest moment in the beginning was the introduction of stealth mechanics. We play as Thief, and he has a special outfit that he sneaks around in. I had to stop for a second because it was so ridiculous, yet so perfect.
Oh, this is murder on my hairstyle.
What's that supposed to...
Even if I get caught, I can just talk my way out as long as I'm wearing this. See ya!
This is quite a slow game, as with most JRPGs. There's loads of story and talking and reading to do in the beginning that sets up the world and its lore. I think it took me 3 hours to get to a point where I could freely explore the world and take part in side missions. But that doesn't mean it was a boring 3 hours. We get a complete introduction to the game, get to know the characters and the world, learn game and combat mechanics, and overall just get settled in. Once you have free reign, the game goes as quickly as you want it. As with most RPGs. You want to do nothing but side missions? Sure. Only want to focus on the story? Why not? The biggest thing that might slow things down is travelling from one place to another. We have a tank and later on several other mechs, and there is a fast travel. But if you haven't been there before, you gotta put in the miles. We level up and use points to work through a skill tree, and we also have separate points to spend on our allies' trees. I like this as we can prioritize certain abilities our allies have, and we don't have to sacrifice our own points to do so. This is a fairly gentle game, with a few genres mixed in just for fun. We have basic hand-to-hand combat, where Beelzebub has a few different attacks to take down enemies. We also have a tank, which introduces shooting mechanics. And there are points where we have to sneak around military camps, which throws in stealth mechanics as a cherry on top. None of these are super difficult to get through, so if you're not great at stealth, it's quite forgiving. The biggest thing that I had to prepare myself for was the amount of reading and dialogue scenes I had to sit through. They're never boring, but there's no auto advance, so I had to make sure I was hitting a button to move on, or the characters would just stand still.
I apologize for the secrecy.
Staring. Waiting. Later on we can make new mechs and customize them, but it's not forced on you. You can just build a bot and leave it, or you can put hours into making it look just right. We can also upgrade parts and weapons on our mechs so they work exactly how we want them to, or just function at the top of their class. We can also rebuild the town of Spino by doing side missions for the inhabitants. And with every upgrade we get new items in a shop or new stores to visit. This is more essential than the customizing, and you'll get some good rewards for rebuilding, but it's not mandatory. Also later on, we get our own quarters to decorate and customize. And who doesn't like to have their own little house in-game? Because of the slow-moving storytelling, this is quite a relaxing game. You really have to slow down and let the game play out in its own time. Well, unless you skip all the dialogue. You're led from one place to the next and given enough plot points to keep you moving forwards, but you're never given too much information all at once. The stealth might seem like a strange and possibly stressful addition, but it's very linear. You're pretty much given a path to follow, and all you need to do is scare enemies to take them down, or avoid being seen.
What?
The tank battles aren't too heavy either. It's literally point and shoot, and the enemies aren't too tough to take down. You could spend all day moving through the story, doing side quests, or just exploring, and the game won't punish you for it. The world is huge and you'll want to explore, and there's enough fast travel or points of interest that you won't feel like you're driving for hours without seeing anything. This is a great game, from the art style to the world. From the mix of game mechanics to the silliness of the writing. It's a game you can get really stuck into and micromanage things, or you can jump in and knock out a few side missions. The biggest flaw is the amount of storytelling it does, which slows the game right down. But the story itself is fun and interesting. I like how you can see the characters slowly start to trust one another. And one of my favourite details was when the group started calling the prince BL. Once you have a nickname for someone, you're considered a friend.
Oh, you know, BLs, you're a pretty stand-up guy.
Stop before I puke!
If you're a long-time JRPG veteran, this might be a bit of a shock because of the added combat and stealth mechanics, but they're not used so often that you'll feel like you're playing Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty. If you're new to these kind of games, it gently guides you into things without being overwhelming. I love that this game mixes things up, yet keeps the foundation that players are familiar with. So if you're in the mood for a game with a story that pulls you in, characters that make you laugh, and a huge world you can explore in your very own tank, I highly suggest you take a trip to Sandland. Just maybe bring your own water.
Incredible! I can't believe it! They're doing it! Good, we're in position! Fire!
Impossible!
We showed them!
This was fun. Let's do it again sometime. And if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like down below.